Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Lauren and this is my allotment YouTube. And welcome to a new series of videos that I'm going to bring to you called Teabreak Tuesday. So as the name suggests, I'll be posting a new video every Tuesday, and it's just a quick video, a few minutes long, that you can watch whilst having your tea break. So there will be a little bit of structure to it. I'm going to do something a little bit different than my usual, but yeah, it's just a little chatty video really to let you know where I'm at and hopefully to get to know me a bit better. So my plans for this week on the allotment are 100% to get my old polytunnel down. So if you're new here or you missed the updates, I put a polytunnel up really still in the middle of winter, and as expected, it got absolutely battered by the winds. So it's not an expensive polytunnel by any means. It is a flimsy polytunnel. But I got a bit excited. The weather started warming up a little bit a couple of months ago. And yeah, put the polytunnel up and it soon came back down. So we took the cover off around that time. And then it's just been one of those jobs that I've just been putting off taking the frame down. But a couple of weeks ago, I thought, this is it. It's a clear day. I'm going to go out. I'm going to take the polytunnel down, the frame. And then I realised that because it had been absolutely battered by the winds, the actual bolts inside had bent with the poles. So it wasn't just a case of getting an Allen key, taking the bolts out and taking it back down again at all. So I am borrowing some help, lending a little helping hand to get that polytunnel down. That would just make the plot look so much tidier. Just that alone, and then I can decide when I'm going to put the new one up, but I need at least a 2-week weather forecast of it just being nice, because I'm really going to reinforce the new polytunnel and hopefully it will last me longer than a couple of weeks anyway. Couple of other bits. My plans for this week are definitely to do a tip run from the allotment. So I've got loads of junk in the shed that I just need to get out because the shed is barely even accessible at the moment. Again, if you've seen my allotment and you know what my shed looks like, it's pretty tiny. I'd say it's probably, I don't know, a metre by a metre, maybe a metre and a half by a metre and a half, I'm not sure, but it's really small, but it's a lovely shed and it's pretty new. So I do want to make the most of it. But yeah, it started raining when I was down there last week, it would have been now, and I couldn't even go into the shed for shelter because I literally couldn't get in it. I've also got some ton bags around the back of my shed. I think some of them I'm going to give back to my friend who had filled them with bark and gave them to me in the first place. But yeah, and then the rest, I'll see if anybody else wants them or they will go to the tip. My other plans for this week, I think I'm going to start sowing some beetroot. I'm going to definitely need to start our sunflowers. Each year myself and my other half have a bit of a competition as to who can grow the biggest sunflower, but it's a bit of a running joke because I actually sow all of the sunflower seeds. He picks one that's his favourite and then claims all the victory when it wins. But yeah, we got one that was, I think it was about 13 foot, 14 foot. It was something hideous last year anyway. It was absolutely ginormous. So yeah, I can't remember how big it was now, but it was big. And then my other thing that I'm going to do is get my seedlings that I've been hardening off outside, and they've actually just been outside in pots in my garden for the last few days. I'm going to get those into the ground at the allotment. So yeah, that's my plans for this week. I'm just hoping that the weather's going to be on my side. It is a clear day today so far this morning, but it is still early, so that could all change. But yeah, just looking forward to having some clear. I don't even mind if it's not warm. I just want it to not be raining. I'm sick of the rain and I'm sick of getting soaking wet. So yeah, all dependent on the weather, but I'm definitely getting that polytunnel down regardless. And then something that I wanted to share with you, which was a fact that I learned this week, was Portishead Allotment. If you don't follow her, go and follow her on Instagram. She shares some really useful information, and she has a lovely Instagram. But she shared something this week that I totally had no clue about, and it blew my mind. Now I'm going to insert an image from Google, just a generic image. But basically what it is that your sort of squash and your pumpkin plants, and I'm going to try it with my sort of cucumber as well, because to me they are similar. Are they the same family of plants or similar family of plants? But basically you have your first leaves and then your second true leaf that comes through, and they're sort of pointed on the plant. And basically whatever direction those second true leaves are facing, your main, I'm going to get all this terminology wrong now, but your main stem that comes off of the plant, which will then have all of the sort of fruit on it, is opposite those second true leaves. So your second true leaves might be facing that way, and that means that your plant is going to trail off that direction, so the opposite direction. And I think that's so useful when it comes to planting. If you want your plant to sort of, if you're going to plant it sort of towards the corner of a bed and you want it to go across that bed rather than across the path, use that tactic and you know which direction it's going to grow in. How simple is that, but how clever. So yeah, really loved learning that one actually. And then one final thing that I just wanted to do was a bit more of a get to know me, and I posted a Q&A on Instagram, I think it was, a few weeks ago, and offered people the opportunity to ask me a question, and the number one sort of question that I got was, what got me into gardening, or why did I start my allotment? And as they're both sort of similar questions and I would give a similar answer for each, I thought I'd answer them together. So I've always been brought up with as much sort of locally sourced produce as possible when it came to fruit and veg. My mum grew bits and pieces in the garden, probably out of necessity really, sort of fruits and mint. I've got big sort of memories of going out and picking mint on a Sunday, ready for her to make a mint sauce for the Sunday dinner. My mum owned a greengrocer's many years ago. It was actually prior to when I was born, but she's always been very passionate about sort of fruit and veg. And then also my granddad, when I was a child, I would often go with him to who we lovingly called the old lady, but that was just what she was known as. I think she even referred to herself as that, but basically she had a massive vegetable garden at the back of her cottage, where she grew all sorts of fruit and veg, and they absolutely thrived. She also had a collie dog that I absolutely loved going to see. And yeah, so we would go visit the old lady, and we would buy produce from her, and I have very fond memories of buying things like plums, and we would eat them on the way home, so we wouldn't even get them back home because they'd all be gone, or strawberries, just that sort of thing. And then my granddad would pick up all the other bits of vegetables, potatoes, that sort of thing that they needed for that week. But yeah, it was just, it's always been very normal to me. I think I'm quite lucky in that way, that it's always been very normal for me to know how vegetables are, or sort of understand that concept of vegetables, how they're grown, that they can just be grown in your back garden, and yeah, that they taste so much better. So that's it really. That's what got me into it. When we bought our house, I sort of dabbled in a bit of vegetable growing, and it was always more vegetables than what it was flowers. That was always my primary focus, and then as the years went on and I sort of ran out of space and I realised I just didn't have the space in the garden to actually do what I wanted, I then put my name down for an allotment, and a few years later I finally got one, and that's where we are today. But yeah, it's a huge passion for me. I just think it tastes so much better when it's homegrown, and you get the satisfaction of knowing that you grew it, you know what went into it, and yeah, so that's it really. So that's what got me into gardening. It's just like, it's a bit of a norm for me really, and I got an allotment because I ran out of space in my garden. But obviously the dream, which I think possibly many allotment holders have, is to finally or eventually buy a house with a garden big enough that I can have my own vegetable plot at the back of it, that would just be the dream. And with chickens and all of that good stuff, that would be my long-term goal. So one day, hopefully. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that new concept of video. I hope it's been okay. Hope it's kept you company whilst you've been having your morning brew. And I will catch you on Friday, which will be my normal sort of allotment vlog. And the Tuesdays will just be chatty, this sort of format, bit informative really. But yes, I hope you enjoyed. Please do like and subscribe if you did. And if I could ask you a huge favour, please could you share my video with just one of your friends to watch my video. I would love to have more people in this community. It's really lovely. But yeah, so if I could just ask you to share with just one person that you know to see if they would watch my channel, that would be so appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next